In episode 1, BlueRiver won the largest contract in its history. The company did not begin by asking what documents ISO 9001 requires. It began with a better question. What results must the quality management system make possible? Now, the story moves one step upstream. Before BlueRiver can design the system, it must understand which customers and which expectations should shape it. BlueRiver supplies retailers, hotels, restaurants, and a small number of private label customers. The bottle may look similar, but the promise behind it is different. And when the promises are different, the system cannot be designed as if every customer wanted the same thing. Now, the day starts with 4 messages. A retailer wants to know where the delivery truck is. A hotel asks whether the bottles for an executive meeting will look premium enough on the table. A restaurant calls to change tomorrow's order. And a private label customer asks whether the latest artwork was formally approved before production. All 4 customers are talking about bottled water in this case, but they are not really asking for the same thing. One is asking for reliable supply, one is asking for an experience, one is asking for flexibility, and one is asking for control. And this is the problem episode 2 explores. Different customers define quality in different ways. So, it is tempting to say that BlueRiver makes bottled water and flavored beverages. So, the quality management system should simply make sure the product conforms. Well, that is true, but it's not enough. No. The same bottle can be part of a retailer's shelf availability promise, a hotel's guest experience, a restaurant's practical service model, or a private label customer's brand promise. Each case brings different expectations, different risks, and different process requirements. ISO 9001 becomes much more useful when we stop treating quality as an abstract word and ask what promise the customer is actually relying on. Regional retailers expect BlueRiver to be dependable at scale. They care about price, volume, shelf availability, correct packaging, barcodes that work, deliveries that arrive complete and on time, and useful performance information when something goes wrong. For this customer group, the QMS must support planning, capacity, supplier reliability, inventory control, release, dispatch, and communication. A retailer may not care how BlueRiver organizes those processes internally, but the retailer will experience the result if the shelf is empty, the case configuration is wrong, or the truck arrives too late for the delivery slot. Hotels and restaurants may appear similar because both are hospitality customers, but they do not necessarily define value in the same way. Hotels often care about presentation, consistency, and guest experience. A bottle on a boardroom table, in a room, or at an event is part of the service image. Restaurants may care more about practical formats, dependable supply, flexible quantities, and a simple ordering process. Their needs can be less formal than private label customers, but still demanding in daily operations. So, if BlueRiver tries to treat all hospitality customers as one group, it may miss important differences in the service promise. And private label customers change the risk profile. The product does not only carry BlueRiver's operational performance, it also carries the customer's brand. This means customer-specific specifications, approved artwork, version control, traceability, product release, confidentiality, and control changes become much more important. A small mistake can become a visible brand failure, a wrong label, an unapproved artwork version, a packaging change not reviewed before production, or poor traceability after a complaint can damage confidence quickly. For private label, the QMS must be specially strong where customer specific requirements enter, change, and flow through the organization. So these expectations do not simply add up. Okay, so the problem is not that one customer is right and another is wrong. They can pull the organization in different directions. Retailers may want low prices and stable high volume supply. Private label customers may want controlled customization. Restaurants may ask for flexibility. Hotels may care about premium presentation. Every additional promise has consequences. So long production runs supports efficiency, but frequent changes create disruption. Fast response is attractive, but formal approval protects the customer and the company from mistakes. Low inventory may reduce costs, but it can damage availability. The issue is not that customers are unreasonable. No, the issue is that the organization must understand the trade-offs before it designs the system. This is where BlueRiver must avoid a common mistake. Clause 4.2 is not asking the company to treat every interested party and every expectation as equally important. Some requirements are mandatory because they are legal, regulatory, or contractual. Okay. Some are strategic because they support the direction the company has chosen. Some are negotiable, and some should be declined because they would create unacceptable risk or destroy the business model. Some expectations may matter to the organization, but not be relevant to the QMS. The discipline is to determine what is relevant and what the system must be capable of addressing. BlueRiver's customer choices cannot be made in isolation. They must be grounded in context. Externally, the company looks at market trends, customer behavior, competitors, regulation, technology, and the way different customer segments are evolving. Internally, it looks at current performance, capacity, skills, equipment, supplier capability, strengths, weaknesses, and the knowledge the organization actually has. A strategic choice that ignores context is just a wish. Yeah. BlueRiver may want to serve every type of customer, but the evidence from episode 1 already showed late deliveries, frequent plan changes, packaging errors, weak trend analysis, and knowledge concentrated in a few people. Those facts must influence the choices management makes. A management system cannot be designed independently of the organization it is intended to support. BlueRiver's top management must also consider the results the business itself needs: acceptable margins, sufficient capacity, operational stability, sustainable growth, and the retention and development of critical knowledge. Together, context and business requirements shape strategic direction. Strategic direction influences which customers BlueRiver should serve and what promises it can credibly make. The quality policy must support those choices. Quality objectives must translate them into results. Then the QMS must provide the processes, the resources, responsibilities, and controls needed to achieve those results. The QMS cannot be strategically neutral, but neither can strategy ignore context or organizational capability. Now, at this point, strategy becomes the first quality decision, not because the quality department owns strategy, but because the quality management system must be designed around the promises the organization chooses to make. So, BlueRiver asks 4 practical questions. Which customers are central to the future of the business? Which expectations will define good performance? Which capabilities must become reliable if the company is to serve those customers well? And, just as important, which promises should BlueRiver stop making? Yeah, stop making because they create confusion, instability, or unacceptable risk. For the purpose of the implementation project, BlueRiver makes a working strategic choice. Its primary direction is to serve regional retailers and selected private label customers that value reliable delivery, controlled customization, traceability, and responsive service. This does not mean that hotels and restaurants disappear. No, it means they do not define the core architecture of the QMS unless BlueRiver later decides to make them strategic. The system will be designed around chosen promises, not around every possible request. That choice gives direction to the next steps: relevance requirements, process priorities, resources, controls, objectives, and performance evidence. The strategic choice now changes the QMS. Capacity planning becomes critical because retailers depend on reliable supply. Specification and artwork control become critical because private label errors can damage the customer's brand. Supplier reliability becomes visible because BlueRiver cannot perform if caps, labels, or bottles arrive late or wrong. Traceability must be dependable. Customer change requests need a defined route. A strategic choice has been translated into process requirements, controls, responsibilities, and evidence. Now, the practical output of episode number 2 is not just an interested parties table. It is a customer choice and relevant requirements map. For each group, BlueRiver records the principal needs and expectations, the conflicts they may create, their relevance to the QMS, and the process or capability implications. This tool helps management see that ISO 9001 is not asking the company to satisfy everyone equally. It is asking the organization to understand what matters and design the system accordingly. The customer choice and relevant requirements map begins with the regional retailers. Their strategic role is to provide recurring regional volume and stable demand. And their relevant needs include product availability, correct orders, consistent packaging, reliable delivery, and rapid communication when something goes wrong. The main conflict is familiar. Retailers may want low price and high service reliability at the same time. BlueRiver must therefore protect the capabilities that make that promise possible. So, demand and capacity planning, inventory control, supplier reliability, production scheduling, release, dispatch, and communication. You see, this determines what are the critical processes. So, the map also records what BlueRiver chooses not to promise. Okay? So, for this group, that includes unlimited urgency, excess customization, or delivery commitments accepted without capacity review. Okay, yeah, it's here. Okay, the potential conflicts, the required QMS capabilities, the key process implications, and the KPIs: on time, in full delivery, order accuracy, stockout incidents, packaging errors, retailer complaints, average response time, emergency schedule changes, cost of rework. Now let's see for the selected private label customers. Okay, so for this group or for this type of customers, the strategic role is different. Yeah, they can offer growth and long-term partnerships, but only if BlueRiver can control customer-specific complexity. Relevant needs include approved specifications, artwork control, traceability by lot, formal approval of changes, confidentiality, product release, and performance reporting. The main conflict, the main conflict is customization versus operational stability. Okay, BlueRiver may accept special packaging, additional testing, or customer-specific reporting, but only when the commercial value justifies the required capability. The map again records what BlueRiver will not promise: unreviewed artwork changes, okay? Customer-specific materials without viable volumes, dedicated capacity without commitment, or liability for requirements not formally communicated. So the two groups require some common capabilities, okay? Clear requirements, reliable suppliers, controlled production, product conformity, effective communication, complaint handling, traceability, reliable delivery. However, they place different pressures on the system. So for regional retailers, the dominant challenge is: can BlueRiver supply consistently at the required volume, cost, and delivery rhythm? So this reminds me that book Kaizen, so the quality, cost, and delivery. Okay, yeah. And for private label customers, the dominant challenge is: can BlueRiver control customer-specific requirements and changes without creating errors, confusion, or operational instability? So the same QMS can serve both groups, but not through identical operating models. Okay. So the practical output of episode 2 is the customer choice and relevant requirements map. So for each customer or interested party group, BlueRiver records the principal needs and expectations, the conflicts they may create, their relevance to the QMS, and the process or capability implications. So this tool helps management see that ISO 9001 is not asking the company to satisfy everyone equally. It is asking the organization to understand what matters and design the system accordingly. Yeah, it's something that I like a lot. So I'm always asking people to remember the definition of management system. So a system to establish a policy, so a strategy, an orientation, and then translate that into objectives, and then work to achieve those objectives. Okay. So yeah, that's the point. So BlueRiver has now chosen the promises that matter most. The next question is scope. So what products, activities, locations, processes, and outsourced processes must be included in the QMS to make those promises credible? Okay? So if your organization needs support with the transition to ISO 9001:2026, or if you are looking to improve your current quality management system, perhaps I can help, okay? I also support organizations that are starting from the beginning and want to implement ISO 9001 in a practical, business-oriented way. So you can contact me using the email shown on the screen or send me a direct message on LinkedIn.